Okay, I think I'm live now. And I see a comment that popped up just before I went on and saying congrats on 2 years. Thank you very much. That's hard to believe it's been 2 years. My goodness gracious. And this past year feels like it's really flown by. It's funny how that works. So, anyway, I honestly don't even really know what to talk about. I just wanting to just chat about whatever. How many of you have seen Black Widow? I went to go see it for the second time today with the kids, and they both really liked it. And for the most part, I liked it too. I mean, it's not the perfect MCU movie, certainly not the best, but I thought it was pretty decent, honestly. Tons better than Captain Marvel. Um, question is Terminator. Okay, so the Terminator I love. For a long time, that had been my number one, and then Terminator 2 came along, and then that replaced the Terminator. That became my number one. So it's just, as far as I'm concerned, it's the perfect film, especially after the digital fixes that they added to it. In the release that came out, I think it came out in theaters like in 2017, I think in August, and they had done digital fixes. I noticed when I went to go see it on the big screen, and I was really impressed with it. So, yes, Terminator 2 is my absolute favorite movie. And I'm actually getting the itch to see it again because back in late April, I had a watch party with some of my viewers, and I finally got the first 30 minutes up, and it's in copyright hell right now. But that was, let's see, May, June. So that's been 2.5 months ago, and I'm ready to see it again. I mean, I could watch it again right now. See, yeah, which one? Because there are several chases that happen. You talking about? Well, they kind of play the same theme in multiple chases. Like the very first real big chase that happens when he's running after the kid in the parking garage, and then they end up going through the channels, down in LA, and also the chase that happens at the end. They use the same track for a lot of portions of that Terminator, the T-1000, what I call his music, that sharp, stabby sort of sound to it, really like kind of almost grating on the ears, but not too bad, really. The Terminator idea. I read recently that James Cameron said that he wrote Terminator 2 when he was high on ecstasy. And if that's the case, then since True Lies, he hasn't been high anymore, as far as I'm concerned, because his movies after True Lies are just like, oh my gosh. Oh, yeah, she did. I loved Sarah Connor's character so much. The evolution of her character was one of the best I think I've ever seen on screen, or just even in a story, because they've made novelizations, but boy, she really threw herself into that project. And James Cameron said that, I get, not really that it irritated him or got on his nerves, but he always felt it was kind of unfortunate that people focused more on her physique in that film, how much she had transformed herself, as opposed to the good acting job that she did. And I think that if she wasn't as good of an actress, I think that just her being ripped alone wouldn't really have, it definitely wouldn't have saved it. It wouldn't have saved it if she hadn't been on point with her acting. It would have, I think that if anybody had been less than what they are in any aspect in that movie, that it just wouldn't have been the success that it ended up being. So many artists there. Yeah, I know. They say it opens up their creativity or whatever. The strongest drug that I go for is like alcohol, beer, or some vodka or whatever. Caffeine. Caffeine is my most commonly used drug. I love it. Yeah, she was. And you know what's, I think what probably had something to do with the way she was, as far as how much she threw herself in that role, is because she's manic depressive. She's bipolar. And that might have been part of what led to her being so good at what she did. Yeah, I've seen only a few episodes of Beauty and the Beast, and I was never really super into it, but I only tuned in just because I like Linda Hamilton. So, is today your chance? Okay, yes, technically. Well, sort of, kinda. So, actually, my very first video that I uploaded to this channel was in November of 2018. And then I just didn't do anything for months until July. And that first video had nothing to do with what this channel is about now. It's about decluttering. And so then in July, 2 years ago, I uploaded my first reaction to a movie trailer, which was to the trailer for the movie The Farewell. That was my very first, and I felt so awkward. I'm much more comfortable. So the date that I uploaded that was July 12th. So that's why I call this my 2-year anniversary, because I don't really count the one that I did in November. I unlisted it because it's just, plus it shows how absolutely awful my office looked at the time, which my new office is getting that way too, because we're still sort of work in progress with everything around here. When I was a kid, I saw T2 before T1, so I didn't really. Oh, you did. You watched it all back-asswards. What? See, oh man, that's unfortunate. Why did it end up that way? Was it just you were more interested in T2 and not interested in T1? Have you seen? No, I don't think I have. But I actually might look for that. I'm going to write this down. I found out when I did that reaction to the video about the 10 things you didn't know about T2 or something like that, about the music video with Guns N' Roses, which I have never seen and did not. I mean, if I knew about that music video, I've completely forgotten about it because I've never seen it. So I'm going to look that up and watch that sometime too. I'm going to write this down, Alex Ball, because that will be super interesting. Alcohol is too strong for you? Yeah. It certainly can be for some people, for sure. Oh, happy birthday. That's exciting. Cool. That's so funny too. Now we'll probably always remember that that's your birthday because it coincides with my channel's anniversary. It was so clever that in this, we think Arnold is bad. Yeah, I've mentioned in the watch part, I'm pretty sure I mentioned in the watch part, if not in the watch party, then multiple times I've mentioned how when T2 came out, I remember seeing the little teaser that they had on the front of some VHS movie that we'd rented from the store. And it was just really quick, like it was super teasery, but it showed basically the production line of the Model 101 to T800, and it shows, the thing like does this whatever, and then it pulls apart, and you can see that there's a Terminator inside it. Now he's got the human skin and everything, and he just looks up the camera and he's got the red glowy eye, and it's like, what? Holy cow! And they tried to keep it under wraps that he was going to be good this time, but honestly don't remember when it was that I found out that he was the good guy this time. But it was definitely before I went to go see the movie. I kind of wish I'd gone in not knowing anything. I wish I hadn't watched any reviews or read anything about it, kind of like how I do now when I'm really excited about a certain movie. I wish I hadn't seen anything. I wish I'd gone in not knowing what the heck was going on, not knowing anything about the T1000. I think it would have been so much more just like electrifying to me. But unfortunately, I did. I knew the basics when I went in. Oh, your parent. Oh, you were 6. Oh my goodness. You were 6. When T2 came out, my brothers were young. And so I took another video and I would copy the movie, but then I would cut out the really violent parts, like the part where the T-1000 jams his spear hand through John Connor's foster father's mouth. To me, that was so gory and disturbing. And also when the guard at the prison speared the other, they were both twins. They were played by twins, but when one speared the other through the eyeballs, that actually really disturbed me at the time. Nowadays is nothing, but I don't know. There's something about that kind of really gnarly to me. John Connor thinks it. Sarah thinks it. Oh, hi, Storm Shadow. How are you doing? Hey, has anybody seen The Witcher teaser or trailer yet? Maybe it was a teaser. I can't remember. I saw that, I think last night. I haven't put it up yet on my channel, but I watched it. I was really excited to check it out. So hopefully the second season will be as entertaining as the first season was. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I went in not knowing anything really much at all about The Witcher. So yes, I do. I do still have ratties. The same two that we've had that we've had since I started. Actually, we didn't get the ratties until a few months after I started uploading regularly on this channel. But they both are they're having respiratory issues, and I expect that what's this, July. I will be surprised if they make it to the end of the year. At least one of them, because one is worse off than the others. I mean, they can still get around, they can still eat, but sometimes eating food is a bit of an effort for them. And they are on antibiotics. I've actually had them on antibiotics for a long time, because with rats, they have this thing, this myco thing in their lungs that most of the time that's what kills them. Like, it progresses to this infection. And so I had been reading on different rat sites, forums, or whatever, that some people just recommend giving them antibiotics forever to just kind of stave it off as much as they can. And so that's last July, actually, was when I started giving them the antibiotics, not out of the blue, but because they both were exhibiting signs. I started giving it first to Popo and then started giving it to Luca. And it has worked very well, but you can only hold it back but so long. I think if I had started and then stopped after a few weeks, I think they probably both would be dead by now, just because the disease progresses very quickly once it starts to really take hold, and it's terribly sad to see. They don't live long enough. I don't like that. Do you're 15 or 16. That's probably a good age to see the movie, not 6. I guess it all depends, but definitely 6 would have been too young for me, for sure. Oh, yeah, I would advise not to, unless you watch a heavily edited one. You know, they used to make these DVD players. I think they were called Clear Play, and I did get some. And you would get the DVD player, and it had this little USB thing, and you'd plug it in to the USB port at the front, and you'd put your movie in. And if they had filters for that movie, they would automatically filter out, like, whatever you told it to filter out, they would filter it out. It was really cool. And I got that so that my kids could enjoy certain films that I thought had excellent stories, but maybe they were just a little bit too much for them at whatever age they were at the time. And that worked really well. They have other things now that are better, like probably digital things that can fix movies like that for you. But yeah, if you're, yeah, 6 is, in my opinion, quite young. Hi, Sean. How you doing? How's the weather where everybody is? I am so stinking hot. I haven't turned on my air conditioner because it's really loud. So I'm quite hot. Transformer. Has he seen the first Transformers movie? I love that movie. That is a fun film. It's been a while since I've seen that, but I always really, really like that. Mocha has a dumbass friend who, oh gosh. Well, I was really young when I saw the first Halloween, and that was Halloween on TV. It was where my mom was working at the time. She was a caretaker for a really old, ailing older woman. And Halloween came on. It must have been in probably in, no, you know what? I don't know if it was the late 70s or the super early 80s, but it was on TV. And my parents were watching it. We were in like the living room of the house, and bad things started happening. And instead of turning the channel, they told me to just turn around and not watch it, but I could hear everything and it scared the living crap out of me. And then they were like, okay, he's dead now. And I turned around. No, he wasn't. He absolutely wasn't. He came back up again. And I have had nightmares about Michael Myers ever since. And I was very, very young at the time. So, but that's my favorite horror movie. I've told this story before. Sorry if you guys have heard it. Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe sometimes they just don't, like in the case of my parents, I think it just probably didn't occur to them how traumatizing it would be, because I grew up without a TV. There was no TV in our house. And I just think it just probably never even entered their mindset that it would be something that would have that much of an effect on me. But oh, I think that might be in reference to my rats. Thank you. I'm going to be sad when they're gone. I hate that. I am good. It has been a while. I've seen you showing up in my comments, though. I hope you're doing well. And thank you for all the little tips that you give me about stuff that you've been hearing. Well, not tips, but like little heads up about certain entertainment related things that you've been finding out about that I never even knew until you mentioned. And a lot of times I've already seen like that there's a certain trailer up, but sometimes I haven't, or sometimes I don't even know it's around the corner, but I don't know how you know all this stuff. You're like really plugged in. Yeah. In our area, it is just muggy. And it's the same way in Jersey. I have family up in Jersey. It feels exactly the same. Oh, 75 is beautiful. I love 75. Sometimes 75 here can feel a little warm just because it's pretty humid here in the South. But to me, mid to low 70s is perfect. I wish it was like that all the time. Humid and yeah, right. I like Florida, but it's very rainy and I think much more humid than it is here. 70s in Washington. Well, that's much better than it was a week or so ago when it was in the hundreds or something. I heard about the terrible heat wave that Washington had. My goodness. And Derek had said that a lot of times people don't use, or they don't have AC over there, which really astounded me. I guess because it's just probably not needed very much. Like in the South, we don't need a ton of snowplows because we don't get a lot of snow. So I guess the same kind of thing, but I can't imagine life without air conditioning. Whew. Low 70s. That's nice though. Low 70s good. Check your own. Wait, what was that? About the humidity? Oh. So, okay, has anyone here seen Black Widow? I'm kind of itching to talk about that a little bit. If you haven't seen it, then and you don't want spoilers, then I won't talk too much about it. I did do a review about it though. I actually feel like my second viewing, I feel like I enjoyed it even more the second time. So I like that. Texas thought about it, just thought about it a little bit. You know, sometimes there have been sometimes in Mexico that they've been getting crazy like snowstorms and everything, and it's funny how the weather works sometimes. Oh, you're up in Toronto, okay. Yeah, July and August are generally the very hottest times of the year for us. So can't see it until Friday. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoy it. let me know what you think. I think for the most part, people have enjoyed it. I've been a little bit disappointed to see some of the stuff that people have been saying about, like, before it even came out, people were, and this happened with Wonder Woman 84 as well. Before it even came out, people were, you know, how they do like on YouTube with the clickbaity thumbnails and titles and everything, and talking about how it was woke and it was anti-male, and that someone involved with the movie said it wasn't made for men, which I cannot verify that at all anywhere yet. In fact, the director of the movie, I saw an interview or read an interview with her and was seeing some of the stuff that she said, and the stuff that she was talking about was pretty much the opposite of what people were claiming that had been said by people that worked on the movie. I think I heard, I haven't verified this either, but I heard Marvel say it was their Me Too movie or something like that, but there was not really any Me Too stuff in there. So I don't know why they would say something like that. I don't get it. The only thing that I've seen concretely with that sort of stuff being said about it was in a review. I mentioned this in my own review, but it was a review done, some written review done. I don't even remember the guy's name, Eric something or other. And he was saying stuff about how it put men in their place and it made them squirm and it passed this Bechtel test or whatever. That's the only source I have for those sorts of claims. I don't really feel like it put men in their place or anything. I mean, there were primarily women because it was about the widows, but I don't know. Sometimes I think people hear rumblings about stuff and then maybe they go in to see a film, and because they have that expectation, they see that everywhere they look. So, I don't know. I am in the southeast of the US, where it's muggy. I'm not going to spoil it too much, but I mean, I just want to talk about it some more. I was quite impressed with it, and Scarlett Johansson has really grown on me in the role. I've made no secret of the fact that I was not crazy about her at all in the beginning, but she toned down some of the way she kind of like overacted or overemphasized her qualities, and she became more likable as the series went on. It wasn't until, well, when Endgame came around, that was when I was really like had started to really grow attached to her, before she even died. And then she died and I was like, oh, I've just now started liking you and you're gone now. But yeah, I'm not super enthusiastic, to be honest. And one of the things that did make me quite interested to see this film was because Black Widow is like one of the last of the sort of original, you know, Avengers. So, and I feel like the movie was well done. There are some issues I had with it, but it was nice to finally kind of see it being made. But at the same time, it was just way past due. I mean, I don't know why they waited so long. I think that was a big mistake. Yeah, I've heard Cruella getting some really good buzz. I like Emma Stone, but I have zero interest in Cruella. I'm not real thrilled about this trend that Disney has with like doing live action versions of their comic characters. Like, I haven't seen any of them. I saw a little bit of Beauty and the Beast, haven't watched any of the others, and just I don't have any interest at all in them. But yeah, I like Emma Stone. I think she's a good actress. Let's see. No, I didn't. I really, was that the case? Even Hawaii? Oh, I'm gonna have to look that up and refresh my memory, because nope, that's completely slipped my mind. That's a bit of trivia I did not hold on to. Write this down. Whatever. Okay. Oh, is that because you're just not interested, or is it because you're still a little bit unsure about getting out in public? Here in our area, the theaters now don't segregate the seats by party anymore. now everybody sits. So when I went to see Black Widow, that was the first time in well over a year and a half that I've been in the theater where everybody was sitting next to each other and the theater was completely packed. So thank you. I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one that is just noticing that this not really that going on, the wokeness and stuff. And I felt the same way about Wonder Woman. People were saying that Wonder Woman was woke and anti-male, and I really didn't get that sense at all. But in a lot of ways, Black Widow was sad to me, especially, man, that opening shot where it was showing. I'm not going to try to get too spoilery, but it was showing kind of montage of the training that the girls went through and the stuff that was going on, and also sort of interspersing images of that with scenes of the big bad guy, the guy who was the head of the Widow program, with different world politicians, and the song that was playing, which was Kurt Cobain's Nirvana. I don't remember the name of the song, but I know Weird Al Yankovic did a parody of it. Which was the way my son got introduced to the song, was through Weird Al. But there was something really haunting about that scene, and just sad. I don't know. And then when I watched the film the second time, there were scenes that made me, I don't know, just more sad and almost a little teary-eyed, more so than the first time I watched it. And I think a lot of that was because of Florence Pugh. The way she played her character was she was fantastic. She was the best part about the whole movie. And there were a lot of good parts about the movie, but she was amazing. I really liked her performance in that. And she was also very emotional. Like, her character just wore her heart on her sleeve in a lot of ways. And then also seeing the things that Natasha's character goes through when she finds out more stuff about her past and where she came from and what happened to the people in her past. It was touching. I thought it was touching. I'm beginning to think, okay. Sorry, I popped this up, but didn't even I'm beginning to think a lot of the outrage with movies, wokeness, anti-male, etc. You think maybe, but I don't know. I guess it's possible. Like, you think that it's maybe the people in the marketing and the people at the movie studios are sort of putting these things out there, and it's getting latched onto, that they're putting that sort of stuff out there on purpose. Maybe that would actually make sense, which is kind of frustrating, because what happens is then certain people latch onto these narratives that are being said about a film, and they'll, they put the thumbnail stuff up. Oh, such and such, listen to me. Such and such film is woke, or it's trash because it's anti-male. And then people watch what is being said about it, and then they're like, well, I don't want to see it now. So sometimes, well, a lot of times, if there's something I'm really highly anticipating, I do try to stay away from any sort of input from anybody else about a movie. There have been some times where I find out that, yes, the people that were talking about a film being a certain way, that they were right, that it was a certain way. Dark Fate was one of them. But there's also been other times where that's not the case. So that was a response to somebody else. The overacting. I think it was Michael Caine who says that the worst thing you can do as an actor is let the audience catch you acting. Yeah, well, the thing about Scarlett Johansson as an actor, she's a good actor, but what really got under my skin in her early appearances in the MCU, and it started with Iron Man 2 because that was the first one, was that she was overextending herself with the way she walked and the way she moves. And I know that Black Widow is supposed to be this sexy femme fatale, and she's whatever and all this. But the way Scarlett was doing it just really aggravated me. And I could not stand her as the character, because I felt like the way she was acting was an extension of how she felt about herself. Like she thought she was all that. and just really grated on me. But then as the movies went on, she kind of pulled back from that a bit and didn't sort of make this little, these little sexy walks as she would walk away after beating someone up. It's so she and there's really not much of that. There's actually none of that going on in this movie, like none. It's just pure fighting and everything. Oh, there's something really cool, something really funny. It would have not, yeah, it would have, but it's actually not bad. Um, I had some issues with it, like I said, but it's a decent film. But something that they do in here that I appreciated so much, and it tells me that the people at Marvel, they are paying attention to some things that are being said about their films. And and I did say this in my review already, so if you've seen that, I'm going to repeat myself. But there is a theme, a recurring theme in this movie where Scarlett's character is being picked on for her posing, like her posing in her fighting scenes. So in the first Iron Man, she would be like jumping and then landing on the floor in this crouch or whatever, and she'd flip her hair back, and she was flipping her hair everywhere, and she's doing all these, sexy poses as she landed, looks so cool and everything. Well, they bring that up in this movie and they kind of pick fun at her about it. And so it's like they're aware that this was a thing and that people were talking about it. And so she's kind of the butt of the joke when it comes to that. And it's brought up at least 3 times, and it's so well done. It was so funny. I love this. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Disney. I have this love-hate relationship with Disney. They aggravate me a lot. I like a lot of their stuff, but I don't like them. Oh, okay, sorry. That was a joke. Sorry, the comments are coming up as I'm talking. Black Widow was made before the Marvel. Yeah. So that's what confused me a little bit when they were saying that it was their Me Too movie or things were being said about it, and I knew that it had been filmed a while back. So it confused me because right now we're just kind of really in the thick of all this stuff about, wokeness and anti-male and Me Too and all this. And it was really bad a couple years ago. So it just seemed to me like, well, that this was filmed before that sort of narrative became a big thing. And so I was confused about all these claims that were being made about it. And then especially when I went and I saw it really didn't seem to be the case. You don't see any trailers that look good. Are you interested in the Halloween movie that's getting ready to come out? I'm excited about it. I haven't watched that trailer, and I'm not going to till after I see the movie. I hope it's good. I suppose they're not used to snow. Well, yeah, we don't get a lot of it. So when just showed a multi. That's funny. We get it sometimes, but not a lot. Every once in a while, we'll get a really, really bad one. Like we had a real bad one in, what year was it? I think it was 2000. No, 99, whatever, late 90s maybe. We had a huge snowfall. It was like 16 to 20 some inches, which is absolutely not typical for our area. So we were in trouble for a while. Let's see. Smells like Teen Spirit. Cruella isn't new action version of 101. It's a prequel. Yeah, I know. It's a like an origin story. I've seen it compared to the Joker origin story. Oh, I don't know. But I've never been super crazy about the Dalmatians or Cruella de Vil, so that might also be part of the reason why I'm just not really interested to watch it. Did you ever see that movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger? Oh, I didn't know it was based on a true story. I did see that movie, and I thought Arnold did a really good job. I didn't like the movie because I thought, man, the writing sucks. This is terrible. This character is doing stupid, crazy stuff. I didn't know it was based on a real story. So now I'm curious to check it out, and I'm curious to rewatch it then. Yeah, it did get bad reviews. I thought he did really good in Maggie, too. I mean, he showed that he's got some decent dramatic acting chops in him. Yeah, big difference between, well, yeah, but like sometimes to me when someone tries too hard to sell sexy, to me that makes them look ridiculous. That's just I've always felt that way, and I was picking that up on her early portrayal of Black Widow. Like she was just really trying too hard. So I don't know. I guess I mean I'm a girl, so I don't look at girls the way a guy typically would. But as a female, that's how it comes across to me. Now, maybe some guys think it's great and they like it, but to me, it just like it feels like so obvious. I don't know. Found Angelina Jolie to be the worst for femme fatale overacting. Yeah, for a good while there, I wasn't hugely crazy about Angelina Jolie. She's okay. She doesn't really convince me as an action person though, because she doesn't seem to have the physique to match what she's trying to sell us. So I don't know, because she's so tiny, she's so thin, you know. She just doesn't look strong. I did like Salt though; that was a fun film. Yeah, Aftermath, that's the one. Yep, that's right. He was good in there. Once said he wants to throw up whenever he sees. Okay, he didn't like her, did he? Well, he didn't like her, did he? That's fine. Okay. A lot of people think she's really, and in a lot of ways, she's quite beautiful. I think a lot of it has to do with um, maybe the angle and makeup and whatever, but she can be quite striking looking. I went to Disneyland a few years ago and it was weird. All this innocence and friendliness named after a man who was borderline evil. I don't know a whole lot about Disney. I always just had the perception that he was a decent person, but I have heard little bits and pieces, rumblings about him, but I don't know the detail. My fave performance was Match Point. I don't think I've seen that. You know, I really did like The Island, though, which is one of the first action things I saw her. I'm going to write down Match Point because maybe if I look it up and see the poster, it will remind me. I'm excited about the upcoming movie Dune. That's what I wanted. I saw the trailer and the trailer looked pretty interesting. I'm not a huge fan of Dune. I don't even think I saw the first movie and I've never read the books. So I'm just one of those sort of I will be one of those casual viewers, but I'm not super pumped to see it, but I will probably watch it. I just don't know if I'll watch it on the big screen or not. But I hope it does well. I mean, I hope that the fans are happy about it. I know the one that came out a while back was not well received. I remember though being intrigued by it because I would see, you know, magazines and stuff in the stores where they were talking about the movie and they were showing Sting was in there. I remember that. And I remember like, what is this with because the people, I think they have these things in their noses or something. And I was just like, what is going on? So I was interested in it. I had no clue what it was about. Yeah, Sabotage is actually, when I watched it the first time, I was like, oh, it's okay, but it's really raw. And it was kind of heavy. And so then I rewatched it a few weeks ago and it's a bit too much of I feel like that the team kind of overdoes it a bit on how just crass and crude they all act. But in general, I liked it better the second time. And I feel like the girl who played in there, it was so weird to see her acting that way because I'd only seen her before in The Killing. And then in this movie, in Sabotage, she was playing a completely different person. And I was just like, what? But I liked it. Let's see, look it up. Oh, something to say about women not be. Yeah, the girl from Aliens. She was tough. I have no idea what that says. I'm sorry. I don't know if you're cussing me out or calling me a bad name or what. Oh, he was? I didn't know that. I will have to look that up and find out the story. What was up with that? Oh, hi, Arturo. Didn't know you were watching. Okay, so my son says, I heard his brother did most of the work to make Disneyland and Disney took the credit. At least that's what you're. Oh, that's what Tim said? Okay, it wouldn't surprise me at all. It certainly wouldn't. It works best with Brad Pitt. Like, Mr. and Mrs. Smith was a fun movie. I actually really enjoyed that film. The workers in Disney Studio once revolted, and he hired the mafia to muscle them all back to work, according to the book Fast Food Nation. Anyways. Well, that's not cool if that's true. That's not cool. As far as I know, Disney did a lot of shitty stuff, which helps to explain his success. Yes, and the company continues to do shady stuff. I don't like their business practice at all. And I'm not opposed to big business or anything like that. I'm about as pro-business as probably a person can be, but sometimes a company gets too big and then they start to gobble up all this other, all these other companies, and then they steal from other companies, and then they kill competition. I'm not okay with that. I don't like that at all. And Disney does that a lot. Like, they have no problem stealing ideas from people. And I've heard from someone that worked with Disney at the time, I don't know if they still do now, but they said that even if a person is on their off time, let's say an employee of Disney is on their off time and they create something of their own, that Disney reserves the right to take their creation. That blew my mind. That absolutely blew my mind. I don't understand why anybody would want to work for Disney. Oh, all the way from Russia. Hello. My goodness, what time is it over there? It's got to be really late over there. He can't get your card torture. According to, they have eaten a lot of liberal caution. I think the book is right. It's possible. I feel like I would want to see actual some sort of paper trail or video trail or audio trail, as opposed to, because some people can make anything up. That's the thing when it comes to exposés and stuff. Sometimes we get lied to about stuff and we have no idea. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't believe it. I'm just saying sometimes I'm a little leery. Disney was smeared as an anti-Semite because he was very outspoken against war and did not want America to intervene. And see, there's also stuff like that goes on, smear campaigns. So sometimes it's really hard to say what the truth is. Speaking of Vasquez, I'm still shocked that Vasquez from Aliens is John Connor's. Are you really? Okay, that's funny, because when we had the watch party, Colin didn't know that was her, because I mentioned that. And she was also in Titanic. She was one of the poor people in the lower bunk area that drowned with her kids. I think it was a scene with her and her kids. Shocking Vasquez. Yeah. 4:43, my goodness gracious. Are you just not able to sleep? Or are you up because you have to be? I have been known to be up as late as 4 something in the morning, but I don't do that too often anymore. We went to Disneyland on the 4th of July. The workers all created a path by linking arms there by preventing people from crowding in certain areas for the fireworks. Oh, jeez. Because of the you-know-what, the beer bug, it's been called. You haven't lived until you see a group of security guards. I hope you took pictures. Please tell me you took pictures. That is shocking, actually. I don't know what that's in reference to. Maybe in reference to Walt Disney. Oh, okay. I've gone through all the comments. Wow, I feel so accomplished now. So what else? Better than security guards is Cinderella. You think? I think it'd be pretty entertaining to see security guards as Cinderella. That's funny. I have zero interest in going to Disneyland or Disney World, which I went to the one in Florida a long time ago when I was a child. And I have a cousin who's in love with Disney, like in love with Disney. And she goes down there once or twice a year and just loves it, loves it. And I have zero interest. None. What about the Matrix? Yeah, I never finished watching 2 and 3. I never let me rephrase that. I never finished watching 2, and therefore I never got around to 3. So I don't know. Are they going to get rid of 2 and 3 basically and act like this is a direct sequel to number 1, like how they did with Halloween 2018? Or is this supposed to be a continuation? Because I thought Neo died. So I don't know how they're going to write. I mean, I didn't see it, but I heard that that was what happened. I don't know how they're going to write it. I know there's a lot of excitement about the Matrix. Oh, Mickey. Oh, they wore Mickey Mouse ears. Oh, geez. That's funny. Kingdom Hearts is, yeah, I know. You love Kingdom Hearts. With 2, I know that a lot of people weren't happy with the 3rd film. And I enjoy Matrix. I like it, but I'm not a huge fan. I mean, it's okay. I'd rather watch that than a chick flick or whatever. But I'd rather watch that than, let's say, Cruella. But I was not overly wowed by it. I know when it came out, it was a big deal because it seemed pretty revolutionary the way it was filmed. It's a continuation. I know. But, sometimes it wears a little thin when they do stuff like kill off a character and then bring them back. And unless they can come up with a really witty story to explain how certain things happen. So, like, one of the reasons I got tired of Supernatural was because the characters kept dying and then coming back. And it just loses its effectiveness whenever that sort of thing happens repeatedly. Matrix Reloaded had its flaws, but it has some of the best action I've ever seen in any movie. The 3rd movie is skippable, though. Yeah, like I said, I never made it through the 2nd one. I don't even remember where I stopped. Kingdom Hearts is exceedingly confusing in terms of its plot. Really good game. Yeah, Arturo loves Kingdom Hearts. Really, the 3rd Matrix better than the 2nd? You might be well, you might be in the minority. Because I thought that the 3rd Matrix was pretty widely disliked. Yeah, but everybody likes things differently. So, do you have anything you watch? Yes. So what I'm watching right now is, I'm a little behind on it. I started watching it and then I stopped and then I got back into it. So I started over again. I'm watching Luke Cage, the 1st season, which is really good. I really enjoy it. And Mahershala Ali, while I am not a fan of him being chosen as Blade because he just does not know. I would like Wesley Snipes back, but he's really good in Luke Cage as the villain Cottonmouth, and the way those characters are written in there, the bad guys aren't the main bad guys, aren't your typical just single layer bad guy. They have all these different things about them that make them pretty interesting. I'm also watching I got finished with Longmire not long ago, and I've been planning to do a video about the differences between the Longmire books and the Longmire TV series. And then also, I started back up watching Bosch on Amazon Prime because I read the books, and I was also wanting to do a video about that whenever I'm done with the series. What else am I watching on Netflix? I've got a Spanish movie up. I can't even remember what the name of it is, but I'm not done with it. And Arturo and I are watching Castlevania. What else? I've got a lot of stuff in my to watch list, like I do on YouTube. The Matrix one is probably a top 10 for me. Yeah, the Matrix is a favorite with a lot of people. Yeah. The Matrix 2 had some really cool. Oh, yeah. Yes, someone asked me that earlier, probably before you came on. Yes, I still do, and I have had some recent videos with the ratties where they show up. They're ill. They're both ill, but they're still moving around okay. I don't expect they'll be with me much longer, but yeah. Uh, I guess if you're not used to rats, it feels weird to see somebody being so comfortable with them. And when we first got rats, I wasn't in the beginning. My daughter wanted a guinea pig, so I researched that, but I also was asking people about guinea pigs on Facebook, and consistently rats came up as an alternative or a suggestion. And so my daughter found some pictures of cute Dumbo rats, and then she fell in love with rats, and so we got rats, and they are really cute and sweet. I thought they would be kind of gross at first, like before we brought them home. I think the main thing that skeeved me out about rats was their tails, because I thought their tails were slimy and cold, but they're not at all. Their tails are warm to the touch. I mean, not hot. Their tails help regulate their temperature, and they have this little like peach fuzz on them. So they're soft. They don't feel gross at all. And it's really cute when you hold a rat and their little tail will wrap around your wrist. It's so cute. They use it for balance too. The highway chase scene fight in Matrix 2 makes it. See, I don't know if I even made it that far into the second Matrix, so I don't know if I saw that part. Thank you. It's been a crazy fun 2 years though. I certainly evolved. My channel's evolved. It started off being just reactions to trailers and movie reviews and like top tens, and then when I branched out into comedy reactions, I just react to a bunch of different stuff now. Yeah, pet rats are underrated. They're so cute. And they're so curious. They stand up on their little hind legs. And when you come to their cage and you bring them treats, they run to the cage. And we used to have a bunch of rats at one time, like 10 or 12 rats. And in the morning, I would make them a little treat, a little plate of treats with like bananas, and they would hear me cutting the bananas up, and they'd all start rushing to the door of the cage. And so when I would go there, they were all lined up ready to pounce on the bananas. It was so cute. The highway scenes in Matrix are especially amazing because she actually did that wasn't a stunt driver. Holy cow. Wait, are you talking about the main actress or somebody else? Are you talking about what's her name? Carrie Ann Moss, I think that's her name. You talking about that? I mean, her? Rats are our evolutionary equals. They thrive as well as us in cities. Yes, they do. Rat them and see if they can cook like in Ratatouille. I think that's what you're referring to. I've only seen that movie once. It was cute. That was before we had rats. I learned just the other day that rats laugh when they get tickled. Yes, I heard that actually a few years ago, before I even started my YouTube channel. I had seen this thing about the noise that they make when they get tickled. And I think they recorded it. And they actually do make this little, you can't hear it. I think they had to use a machine to pick it up, but that's interesting. So funny. I did see it behind the scenes on the highway. Yeah, we're going back and forth between rats and the Matrix. You guys have got to be talking about the main actress. It's got to be her. Wow. It's interesting how the rat's tail helps them to regulate their temperature. Oh, I didn't know that a whale's tail also helps to regulate their temperature. That's interesting. I guess it never occurred to me that they would need to do something like that in the water, but I guess, yeah. Well, I mean, the water temperature changes depending on where you are. Yeah, wow, that's insane. Geez, now I'm a little curious to watch it just knowing that. Gee whiz. How did she break her neck? Was it in, hold on, I got a dog trying to get down. Okay, here, let me help you. Come here, Levi. Hold on a moment. There you go. There you go. Okay. I guess she heard it during filming. Wow. Did she have, like safety lines on her? For in case the motorcycle fell, they could hoist her up? Jeez. That's impressive. Shadow and Bone. Yeah, I've heard good things about that series, but I haven't watched it yet. There's so much stuff. I wish that I just had all the time in the world and I could just sit around. I think I'd probably get bored doing that, but honestly, there's so much stuff I'm interested to watch. And I can only choose but so much. And right now, the way my office is, it's more narrow than my old office used to be. So when I'm working, so in my old office, when I was working, I had the TV up here kind of in the corner, so I could play stuff and I could work. But if it was a movie with a simple enough plot, I could still follow along even though I was working. But now the way my office is, it's a narrow room, and because I've got a monitor up behind my laptop lid, and I've got a monitor here, and I've got lights right there, and I've got my camera, the entire screen is blocked. So I can't really watch anything while I'm working. So my viewing of movies and shows or whatever, it's drastically decreased since I moved into the new office. Wow. That's very interesting. I did not know that at all. The whale had more blubber found than it needs most of the time, so it needs to cool off. More blood rushes to the tail. Interesting. Learning some science. She said she was worried she might die. I bet she was. Shadow and Bone was decent. I'm still a big fan of shows like Black Mirror. I've heard a lot about Black Mirror. I haven't checked it out yet. I've also heard Love, Death, and Robots is good, but I haven't watched that yet either. Millions of field mice this year. I catch one every day. Before, all have different personalities. Some cower, yeah. Others catch across the floor. And some come to sniff your finger. Oh, well, that surprises me because field mice, they're wild. And we had a mouse actually when we went to go get one of our last group of rats that we got before we got these two. At the place where we got them from, they had a little mouse. I can't even remember what it was called. Arturo, if you're still watching, do you remember the mouse's original name? But we renamed it. Did we even rename it, or did we keep the name? Shoot. Well, the mouse's name was Peanut. And it was so cute and so tiny, but it was so scared of people. It wouldn't come to us except like if you gave it a peanut, it would come to you. But it was really cute. And we only brought it home because she wanted to get rid of it. So we never planned to have. Okay, he says we renamed her. What was her first name? I forgot. I don't even know if it was a boy or a girl. Black Mirror might be. That's an anthology. I think that no. Is Black Mirror an anthology, or am I thinking Love, Death, and Robots, or are they both anthologies? That might be one of the reasons why I've kind of stayed away. Yeah, I've heard that about that show too. It's pretty good, but skip the really? Why? Is it terrible? Please don't tickle mice. When I was a kid and got tickled, I would hate. I would see. I know I'm laughing. Yeah, it's uncomfortable if you get tickled too long. And you can't take a breath. Yeah, no, a lot of Black Mirror coming up. Oh, okay. So there must be something that happens in the episode that's disturbing. Yeah, she was very tiny. Do you know what her name was? Well, she sort of wanted to get, that's why she asked if we wanted to take it, because she had a cat. And so she wasn't, I mean, it wasn't like she'd be like, if you don't take this rat, we're going to get rid of it tomorrow. We'll throw it out or whatever. It wasn't anything like that. But she was looking to give the the mouse to somebody else. And so she just sort of offhandedly, or made an offhanded remark asking if we wanted to take her as well. And we weren't planning to, but I mean, we didn't go there expecting to bring a mouse home. That don't make sense. They play on fear. So you don't think about how the situation doesn't make a lot of sense. It's entertaining though, but no. Okay. The pig episode, not because it was gross, but it was so juvenile to me. Oh, okay. Wait, my throat. What the heck? Gross. All right. This Callister's my favorite bugbear. Okay. I don't either. She was, yeah, I don't remember. Oh, okay. That is disturbing. What is the heck? I think I've got drainage going on, so it's messing with my throat. Yeah, that sounds pretty disturbing. Gross. Okay. All right. I'm getting the idea. And it's an anthology, right? So it's not important. It's not like if I miss it, I'm going to miss anything crucial. Oh, gosh. It was supposed to be gross. It was either kill the princess. Oh, that's weird. A princess was kidnapped, so he was told to have sex with a pig, but 30 minutes before doing it, she was already... Oh, okay. Sounds like a really crazy off-the-wall show. I'm trying to think of other things I've recently watched. Since I've been watching series stuff like, Luke Cage, it's not been many standalone movies that I have checked out. Thought there was something that I was wanting to watch or had started watching, but not counting the Spanish movie, but I can't remember what it is. Some episodes are very deep. And apropos of modern tech, social media, yeah. I think that's one of the reasons I have stayed away from it, because anthology series, they don't really attract me too much. Yeah. It's pretty rare for a show to touch on me. Gosh. That is disturbing. That's really nasty. Oh, that reminds me of what was it? Was it The Gentleman? Yeah, they had that in The Gentleman, I think. I think it was The Gentleman where they got this guy trashed, and he was messing around with a pig, and they got it on video to use it to blackmail him. That's gross. That's the whole point. Forces of you. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard it mentioned many times how crazy it is. Where is it anyway? Is it on Netflix? I have not, but I have heard. My brother recommended it to me, and we toyed with the idea, like after my mom and I finished watching Longmire, because we were watching that together, we toyed with the idea of Yellowstone or Bosch, but we went ahead and watched Bosch. I have heard that Yellowstone is good. I've also heard that there's a character in there that's super annoying. I think the daughter. That's what my brother said. Netflix. Okay. So it's on Netflix. All right. The one where the robot dogs run over the world is one of my favorites because it's simple. And so, okay. Maybe I'll dip my toe in it. Oh, yeah, that's right. I have heard talk of that. I don't know much about that series, though, the book series. Pig flicks. Pig flicks. I was curious to watch that Amy Adams movie called The Woman in the Window, but I saw that it doesn't have the best reviews, and by that I'm not really specifically referring to the critics, but sort of across the board, it looks like it wasn't well received. Let me refresh my memory and look it up. Yeah, it was absolutely destroyed by official critics, which I don't. Oh yeah, the audience and official critics are only about 10 points apart, but they're both extremely low, which kind of surprised me because it looked like it would be a pretty interesting film. It frightened you because some of the episodes are coming true, like the episode that is all about popularity. The more popular you are, the better job you have, which is currently happening. I think that's probably been a thing just in general. Oh, in China. You're talking about in China. Okay. You liked it? And see, that's the thing. There have been some times where I've seen a movie that scores fairly low and I enjoyed it. But most of the time, if both critics and audiences completely savage a film, most of the time I'm like, yeah, I kind of agree with that. But I'll probably still give it a try because it looks interesting. I want them to fix Doctor Who. I haven't watched Doctor Who since Matt Smith was there. I wasn't real thrilled with who they picked to replace him, and then after that, the direction that they went in, no, I'm not interested. I wonder. I don't even know if it's fixable at this point. I thought it was better than its IMDb. Its IMDb rating is actually higher than its Rotten Tomatoes audience score rating. So it's weird when something with such low ratings from critics and audiences even gets released. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know. Siri fixed Doctor Who computer begins to smoke. Right. Don't ask Siri to do the impossible. That's funny. Do you prefer watching a movie in theater or in your own? I prefer the big screen experience for most films. I mean, there are some films that I think you can enjoy them perfectly fine on the small screen. And by small screen now, it's like, what, 40, 50, 60 inches? That's small screen. But, like certain character dramas or whatever, I don't think I think it can be appreciated just fine at home. But for the most part, I like going to see a film on the big screen because I just like the huge screen. I like the sound. I just get really immersed in the film, and it's just more exciting. To me, it's much more exciting. I'm glad I saw Black Widow on the big screen. I've heard some people saw it on the small screen, and they enjoyed it just fine. I think some people, I think it was Grace Randolph said that she watched it on the small screen, and she had issues with like some of the effects and stuff, and that it didn't look good on the small screen. And she rewatched it on the big screen and she said she really enjoyed it, but I don't think she touched on the thing about the special effects. Yeah, see, that's the thing. When I saw the trailer, it reminded me of Rear Window. That's why I was interested to check it out. I felt like it would kind of keep you guessing. Yeah. So, right. That's true. So when I mention critics or reviews, I'm not always talking about the official, critics. I generally almost always will align with what the audience thinks. So if critics absolutely trash a movie, but the audience loves it, then I know that I'm probably going to enjoy it. If critics and audiences both love it, then I know that I will probably enjoy it. If critics and audience both hate it, then I know I'll probably not like it. That's not foolproof, but that's just the general trend that I've noticed. Very good acting by Amy Adams. Yeah, I believe it. I always sit in second row from the front. So all I see is the big screen and no other people, and I can put my feet up in the front row. That's so close, though. That's so uncomfortable. I've been in the front before, and it's not. I prefer all the way in the back, the very, very back row. So there's nobody behind you to make noise. That's my favorite seat. Amy Adams. Okay, well, maybe I'm going to check that out then. Maybe I'll watch that sooner than later. In my small town, we have a theater with only one screen. It's very old and holds 144 in the bottom and 144 upstairs on the balcony. Oh, wow. Is that the only theater in your town? I mean, imagine that's the impression I'm getting. It seems like many people have forgotten that a movie is to be enjoyed, not to be critiqued. If you enjoyed it, great. If you didn't, great, move on. Right. Just because you didn't like a movie doesn't mean I won't. That's true. That's exactly right. And so that's why when I do my reviews, I don't typically come at it from the angle of this movie was awful, don't go see it. I will say what I liked about it or what I didn't like about it, combination of both. Like in my Black Widow review, I started off with the stuff I enjoyed, and then I talked about the stuff that I didn't enjoy so much. And I'll say things like, in some reviews, I'll say things like, if you like such and such and such type of film, I think you'll like this movie. If I don't like a movie, I will say, like I did the review for Promising Young Woman, I really did not like that movie. The acting was good, okay, that was all right. Cinematography, all the technical stuff was fine, but the story itself, I hated it. But I didn't want to say something like, don't go see it. I just told why I didn't like it and didn't plan to ever see it again. And sometimes I like a movie and I still don't plan to ever see it again, just because some movies, they're not necessarily rewatchable to me. Did you hear that Harrison Ford had an attitude towards some fans, but that's because he was concerned? You know what, Arturo, that doesn't surprise me because I like Harrison Ford, but I've heard he's kind of got an attitude in general. So I'm not surprised. So true regarding critics. Great recent example is movie Yesterday. Yeah, I heard about that. Oh, no. I'm thinking about not Yesterday. It's a fantasy, focus on awesome music. I thought people really enjoyed Yesterday, like the regular people. That's what I heard. But also, what was the name of that movie? Oh, shoot. I think it might have Amy Adams in it. I don't remember. And maybe, oh, who was in it? Hillbilly something. And I think it was savaged by the critics, but the audience in general really, really enjoyed it. Oh, that's going to drive me crazy. I think it was on Netflix. Hillbilly. Oh my gosh. I think it was based on some book this guy wrote about his life or something. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm not a huge fan of movie critics. Yeah, has always had an issue with fans. Like I've noticed when Harrison goes on talk shows, he doesn't seem at all like he's happy to be there. He acts like he just wants to bite the host's head off and leave as quickly as he can. I go to the theater to enjoy a film with friends and family, and you can drink at my local theater. Otherwise, I would. Yeah, at our local theater, you can too, and they have like a full menu pretty much as well, and they make pretty good food. I don't get the food because there's not much they have on their menu that I can eat because I don't eat a lot of stuff that most people eat. So I don't, but they have a nice menu. That's because Harrison is, he thinks because I think Harrison is a little bit ornery, but I still like him. I mean, I've always liked him ever since I was young. I recall reading that Ayn Rand's The Fountainhead got rejected by 12 book publishers before one took a chance, and all 12 publishing houses were dead wrong. The book was a huge success. Yeah, and I've never read, it's not Anne. I always want to say Anne, but I know it's Ayn, right? Ayn Rand, whatever. I've never read any of her books. I feel like I kind of probably would be in agreement with her take on certain things, but I've never been interested to read her stuff. The older he got, the less tolerance he has with people, or I guess crazy fans. You know what? In general, the older people get, I think the less patience they have with what they deem to be idiocy, maybe. I don't know. But if you're in show business, you have to be careful about how you treat your fans. That's one of the reasons why I'm not a fan of celebrities, whether it's, singers or actors or whatever, I'm not a huge fan of them being really outspoken as far as certain political type or really divisive topics, because they run the risk of alienating half of their fan base, roughly. And I just don't think it's a smart thing to do. And yeah, I'm. Why did I even start talking about that part? I don't even remember why I started talking about that. But yeah, what I was tying it into Harrison Ford. Jeez, brain fart right in front of everybody. I was tying it into Harrison Ford and how, yeah, the older you get, the less tolerance maybe you have for just the less patience you have, let's say. But that if you're in show business and you've got fans, your career kind of depend. Well, not his career doesn't really depend on us fans anymore, but still, you know, your legacy depends kind of on how you treat people. So if you're ugly to people, that's not cool. But some fans can. I know some people can. They really cross the line. I get it. Yeah, Hillbilly Elegy. That's it. And wasn't Amy Adams in it? And there's another actress who's in it. Was it Meryl Streep or somebody else? I cannot remember. But that's frustrating. But I've heard that it's good. I'm not really super interested to see it, but I heard that fans in general really loved it, but the critics just trashed it like crazy. Imagine being one of the biggest movie figures of all time, they being Han Solo and Indiana Jones for the last 30 years, having to deal with nerds running and screaming at you. Yeah, I get it. That's why I wouldn't want to be in that kind of. If I was in show business, I would prefer to work behind the scenes, personally. To me, the trade-off it's not worth it. But I really like it when actors kind of, they show up, they do their acting job, and then they just kind of stay out of the limelight. To me, those people seem pretty cool. Yeah, I know. You could order like a hamburger with no bun or something. Yeah. Hillbilly Elegy. Yeah, I knew what you meant. Did they make a movie about? No, they made a movie about Atlas Shrugged. I think Harrison is a very shy, private person, so it's hard work. Yeah, some people they want to act, but they don't necessarily want to get out there and interact with the public. I understand that. I recall Harrison showing up dead drunk on, can't remember which late night talk show, David Letterman maybe. I remember seeing him on a talk show when I think he had his bullwhip and he was doing something with the bullwhip. I think it would be a bit, yeah. And so, Glenn Close. That's right. I didn't think Meryl Streep was right, but yeah, Glenn Close. Yeah, and the thing about being so out in the public like that is you never know what type of person might become fixated on you. I think it'd be a little intimidating. I think it's more so that fans need to understand their role models and superstars are humans as well, but fans never treat them as such. All they do is demand. And they also often, yeah, they idolize too much too. They put people yeah, that's not healthy. I know why people do it, but like, I mean, I love Arnold Schwarzenegger, you guys. If I had the opportunity to talk to Arnold Schwarzenegger, I would just completely like not even know how to speak English anymore. I would just gibber. That's because he's been such a huge influence on my life, and not just because I like him as an actor, but just because I like him as an actor, but he had a lot to do with influencing me about things like exercise and trying to take care of your physical health, and that's just a constant part of my life. And so I don't know, it's been kind of almost like a role model-ish to me, sort of, when it comes to that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, be a star, do your job, make great movies, sign a few things here and there, go home and live your life. You know, Scarlett Johansson had recently made some sort of comment about that, about how she felt that it was an actor's job to just, you know, perform their craft and don't get involved in things like politics. And I completely agree with her. I just don't, I think it's such a dicey thing to get into. Yeah, 20, yeah, no. And if you're talking about Woman in the Window or Hillbilly Elegy, I think you're talking about Hillbilly Elegy, because Woman in the Window, the critics gave it a 25% and the audience gave that a 35%. As soon as I hear that an actor in real life is a douche, I can't watch them. Robert De Niro, Christian Bale, and Matt Damon. Yeah, certain actors affect me that way too. A lot of it depends on what they've done and the situation. So some people have been assholey, but maybe the situation was such that I could kind of understand, even though it's like it's not excusable, but you know. But then there's other people that really do, like, okay, Brie Larson's one of them. Yeah, I do not care for her, like, at all. I've said this repeatedly, but the stuff that she said before Captain Marvel came out was such a huge turnoff to me. I lost all respect for her as an actress, and also it didn't help that Captain Marvel just wasn't very interesting. The character was so wooden, just not very well written. Black Widow's tons better when it comes to stuff like that. You might lose your words with me, Arnold, but I imagine you would still. Oh yeah, I wouldn't. I certainly. You know what? Celebrities, anyway, in general, if I saw one, I wouldn't approach them. The only time I approach a celebrity is, like, let's say at a Comic-Con or something like that, and they're there at their table, and people do go up and talk to them. That would be like the only time. I don't think I would have the nerve anyway to approach someone. I don't think I've ever heard of that movie. Morning Glory? Is that a recent? I'm gonna write this down. Yeah, no, I never heard of that film. I think it would be a balancing act to be a celebrity. Yeah, for sure. You need to live your own life, but also think of how happy you could make someone by just shaking someone's hand or signing a hat. That's true. And some celebrities are excellent at that, and they will just give, and they don't complain, they don't refuse. Some have said the only time they refuse, like, to take a picture with someone or whatever, is if they have their kids with them, something like that, which I get that. They're trying to shield their kids from that sort of attention. Oops, skipped. I've met a few celebrities here and there, but all I've ever done was shake their hand and thank them, and didn't ask for a signature, nothing. The look on their faces, yeah. Yeah, I've spoken to Lou Ferrigno, Chris Sarandon. Who else? I know I've spoken to others too, but their names aren't coming to. And mostly I've spoken to voice actors, because that's kind of, a field that I'm sort of kind of ish involved in, and also because my kids, they like anime, so voice acting. I can forgive some degree of douchery, but no one is perfect all the time. But stuff like MJ is unforgivable. MJ? Not sure what that's referring to. Assholey. Yeah, I like that word, assholey. It's a good word. I wouldn't want to be famous. Yeah, no. It's not worth it to have a million people think you're cool if it means one person wants to break into your house because you had a connection in past life. Yeah, I know, it's scary. It really is. I absolutely no. Not okay. I value, like, being able to have a normal life, life without people wanting to have a piece of me all the time. Met comedian Tom Green, and he was a dick. Kid from the Kid and Play movie was extremely friendly. Oh, okay. Yeah, we've I think the Kid and Play movie was brought up at one of our last live stream movie discussions for the year 1992. I think Joe brought it up. Is that you, Joe? You know what? I get your usernames mixed up with your real name. So if that's you, that might be you. Can't remember. I don't remember your username. Look at 2 out of 4 of the Beatles. Even Gabriel Iglesias has a semi-star. Oh, yes. Right. Yeah. That's right. I'm not a celebrity, so I don't know how I would act if all the power and money was thrown in my lap. And a lot of times when people hit the limelight at a really young age, it can screw them up so bad. Like, look what happened with Drew Barrymore. It's just, and also with some child actors, child celebrities, their parents are the driving force for them doing what they're doing, and sometimes their parents are just destructive. It's really sad. Saw the Fast and Furious 9. The action is over the top, unbelievably ridiculous. It was comical. You know, I've never seen one of those movies because it looks to me like something that's extremely over the top and ridiculous. And like with the stunt, so that was one of the things that I wasn't crazy about when it came to Black Widow. Some of the action scenes and some of the stuff that happened to her, there's no way that she would have emerged as unscathed as she was. There's a scene where she falls down, like she falls from a building or from whatever, the tube or whatever it was. You see it in the video. She falls from a great length and she's bouncing off stuff like, I don't know, ducks outside the building, and she bounces off at least 2 hard surfaces, and then she lands on her feet, and she has no broken ribs, no broken legs, no nothing. And then there's another scene where she's in a vehicle, and the vehicle turns upside down and crashes down. Now they're in their seat belts, but still, you still extend, whether you're in your lap belt or not. You're still gonna, if the roof caves down, you're still going to get hurt. And nothing happened to her. And then, of course, there's all the crazy flying through the air stuff that goes on, and she never crashes into a piece of debris or so like things like that. It can be so over the top that it kind of loses its effectiveness. It's not scary when you feel like there's no way that the character can get hurt. Now in Black Widow, she's not going to get hurt because she doesn't die, because she doesn't die till Endgame. But still, I don't like it when things get so over the top that you really just can't. You have trouble believing it. I like there to be some reality to it, or a feeling of reality. I've never met a celebrity. It's on my bucket list. My mother's been around a lot. She volunteers at the film festivals here. My brother, one of my brothers, he works on a film that involved Gary Busey and Martin Sheen's brother. And then my other brother met Garrett Dillahunt on the set of Deadwood, and also the other actor who plays E.B. Farnham. I don't know his real name, but he met both of those guys. And then, and when they were there was during the 2nd season of Deadwood. And there was a scene being filmed with Garrett Dillahunt's character. And my brother described the scene. So obviously when it came around, I was looking out for it. It happened so quickly. But when that scene happens, I'm like, oh, my brother was on the set that night. But anyway, he said that they were both really nice. The only celebs I'd met were musicians from 90s, early 2000s while I was a musician, but from bands I didn't like, so it wasn't that great or memorable. Yeah, I know. It certainly sticks with you more when it's somebody you like. But sometimes you meet somebody you didn't know too well, and because they made such a positive impression on you, you never forget them. Yeah, sorry. I maybe that will cement itself in my head now. I think fame can really show you who people are. Some people will be an asshole if they can get away with it. That's true. Fame, a lot of times fame and power a lot of times brings out the very worst in people, certain people. Running Morning Glory. He's a hotshot journalist, aging news program. Get him on morning. Huh. Okay, so it's fairly recent. Never heard of it. My son asked if I would change my name to Roblox. Aw, that's sweet though. Imagine being a kid actor and being a millionaire before you're 10. It's no wonder so many kids get messed up. Yeah, I know, right? Especially if you don't have good parents keeping you grounded. Like what happened with Drew Barrymore. She was addicted to hard drugs before she was even 10. It's amazing she's still alive. Fast and Furious started as a couple punks stealing beer off the back of a truck. Now they're straight up saving the world in espionage. Right? And insane stunts. It's just, I can't. I have no interest in it. I want to see Fast and Furious movies always have some great. Yeah, they do. Maybe if I just wanted to laugh, I'd go see it. Yes, Jim, loved an interview where Spielberg. Yeah, I saw part of that interview. That was very sweet. I've always had a soft spot in my heart for Drew. I don't know. She was always so adorable. The Onion had a video where the screenwriter for Fast 5 was it almost seems believable, right? Some of the stuff that comes out in movies like that. You're one of the only YouTubers that review things that I don't always agree with, as I'm sure. Yes, I know. I have noticed, but I still enjoy listening to your views on everything. Oh, thank you. I don't know. This is just kind of basically my opinion about whatever. Just, I thought to myself, maybe if I made better thumbnails, like, cause my thumbnails don't stand out. I just have, basic, okay, this is why it came to my mind. I've been getting really irritated with clickbaity thumbnails from some of the YouTubers that I subscribe to. And it's really frustrating. I'll give you an example. I'm not going to name who it was, but this is the type of thing that I see. Amber Heard is done! ! Or Amber Heard fired! ! And then you go watch the video, and no, there's no clear indication or confirmation that she's been fired or whatever. There's just rumors and speculation. That drives me nuts. I can't stand it I've started thinking about just not subscribing to people like that, because I get it. I get why they do it. It's because, it draws the views and all that stuff, but I can't. That's just not, I don't know. So I don't think I'm really probably ever going to fully adapt myself to the types of things that are recommended on YouTube, like eye-catching thumbnails and certain titles worded as I don't know. That's just not something I really have the time for or the inclination to do. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That was very kind of you. I remember a quote from Edward DeVere, the guy who coined the phrase lateral thinking. To be creative, an idea needs to have value rather than just being different for the sake of being different. Yes, exactly. And so I've mentioned before, I think, or if I haven't, I've seen it mentioned before about how, so when you mention how something in a movie or whatever in a book, it's original. But then when you stop and think about it, nothing's really original. Everything is really just borrowed stuff that's been done before. But what makes it seem original or different or whatever is if they have done something with it that's really compelling and interesting, like in this case, having value. And it doesn't even have to be anything that's extremely off the wall, but sometimes just certain things in the way they're presented in an interesting way that maybe people didn't think about before. And so that's why it's like, oh, that's something I can really appreciate when people can do that. And I don't like when people do things like shock stuff just for shock value. That's not to me, that's not really super creative or original to do something like that. I fell asleep. Black Widow, you fell asleep. Did you really? Did you watch it at home? I like the way the story was moving. The Invincible stuff is just the way they do these movies. And that's true. I know. But I could buy into it more if she was a super soldier. But she's not. So I just really wish they had kind of pulled back on some of that stuff. And I don't like flying through the air type fighting scenes. That has never been my favorite sort of deal. And that happened. Of course, you see scenes from that in the trailer. That happens in the film at the end. I mean, if you give me an asshole and get away with even just the census, imagine the things people would do if they would. Yeah, that's true, I guess. Maybe for a lot of people, but some people are not made that way. And even if they knew they could get away with something, they would probably never do it just because it's not something that they would feel comfortable with inside, you know. That was supposed to say, well, if you can get away with it. Okay. Okay. I kind of figured that out as I got towards the end. Autocorrect, yeah. And sometimes, because I hate texting on my phone because my thumb's always hitting the wrong stupid keyboard. So I use talk to text a lot. And some of the stuff it comes up with is interesting, to say the least. To be fair, every one of those movies fast is advertised, and that's what I wanted. Like when stuff moves fast and they succeed at that. A lot of people like that type of thing. That's if that's what you like, that is awesome. It's not my cup of tea, but I know it's got a fan base for sure. Watching someone else play Grand Theft Auto. Creativity was something novel and useful. Jordan Peterson has done some lectures about it, and Donald McKinnon wrote a really good paper on creativity in the 1960s. Being a YouTuber is not your main job, so that's why you're not worried. Yeah, no. Yeah. It's not. It's for fun. I like to talk about movies and stuff. So that's why I do it. And because I'm rather introverted in a group of people, I'm not very talkative. I prefer like a more close-knit type sort of setting. And also I work from home, so I don't get out a huge amount. So this is kind of like my social outlet and a way that I can talk about things, movies and stuff that I couldn't really do otherwise, except like on Facebook. Like if I posted about it on my page or whatever, but even still, it's just more fun to talk about it this way, in my opinion. Yeah, I know that's what you meant. Do you have an Audible recommendation? Well, I have listened to a couple of Will Jordan's books. Will Jordan is The Critical Drinker. I've listened to some of his stuff and I like them, but I don't know if that's the type of thing that you like. If you are an Amazon Prime member or a Kindle Unlimited, there's cool little series of short stories written by Dean Koontz called The Nameless. I've been listening to those. And let me just look at what else is in my library. I listened to Matthew McConaughey's autobiography, which was amazing. He narrated that himself. The audio quality is not the best. It pains me to hear all the reverb. I'm thinking to myself, couldn't he have just like thrown some blankets up behind him on the wall or something? Because it's very reverby. But it's really good. And it really makes me appreciate him more as a person. And of course, I listened to Arnold Schwarzenegger's autobiography, and he only read 2 chapters, the opening chapter and the closing chapter. Stephen Lang is the one who read all the rest of it. And I started listening to Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman, but I haven't finished because my boss and we were going to talk about that. We were going to do a live stream about that, but I haven't finished watching yet. I listened to a book called Orphan X by Greg Hurwitz. I really like his stuff. And of course, The Sandman. I'm just going through some stuff that I have read, that I have listened. I say read, I use that interchangeably, but I'm listening to them. And then I buy some audiobooks. If you've ever heard of a service called Chirp, CHIRP. I think their website is maybe Chirp Books, but they have awesome deals on audiobooks. Like Audible, to me, I don't really have an account with them. I'll have credits and I use credits. Like I think I had some credits. That's why I got Arnold's book and Matthew's book. But the audiobooks are expensive. I mean, they're expensive to produce, so I get why they're more expensive. But Chirp audiobooks, they'll have really good deals for like 99 cents for a decent book, $2.99, $4.99 for books that maybe would typically cost $5. It's all legit. There's nothing like untoward about it. So I built up quite a collection on there. The Walt Longmire books, they're available on Audible, pretty sure. Those are really interesting to listen to. I enjoy that guy's writing. He's got like this snarky sort of sense of humor. The Longmire books, the characters are all the same, but their behavior's a little bit different between the show and the books. But I love them both. I thought they did a really good job on the show. Oh, there's a laid back. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's just, I don't know. This is like the platform where you can just, to me, it's like just talk to people. And I don't have the time to do flashy, snazzy videos. And I don't have the energy to act a certain way that I'm not. So that's just the way, what you see on the camera here, that's the way I am. Music, what music? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about audiobooks. Were you talking about music? What music do I like? Different types, but I'm not huge into music, to be honest. I'm more into stories, which is what my entire channel revolves around, stories for the most part, even though I do reactions to, comic stuff. But I like Aha is my favorite group of all time. I like some Spanish music, like Selena's music, Enrique Iglesias, Rake, some of their music. I don't listen to a lot of their stuff. I like some of Maná stuff. What else do I like? I'm not so crazy about some of the newer music, but I'm an old fart, so that's just the way us old folks tend to be. When we hear music of today, it sounds ridiculous to us. But I'm trying to think of other ones. I'm not really big into groups like the Beatles, groups like Aerosmith. I'm not super big into heavy metal, but it all depends on the song. So I feel like my music taste is a little eclectic. Like there's some rap music that I like, but I don't generally like rap. So sort of shift. That's why comedians like Carlin, Burr, even Chappelle sometimes are great. Sure, funny, but creativity with value of offering actual advice. Yeah, see, that's the thing that I like about Burr, and of course Carlin too, and Chappelle, is they take these sensitive type of topics and they basically shine a light of truth on the stuff that they're talking about. And but the way they do it in such a way that you can laugh at it and it doesn't make you feel awfully uncomfortable. Maybe for some people, maybe it does, like that Bill Burr video, the one titled Vagina Privilege. That one made me uncomfortable. Not because I disagreed with what he was talking about or took offense to it, but because it troubled me. The story that he was just so casually telling about his significant other being physically abusive to him, that bothered me a lot, even though he was kind of funny in the way he told some of the story. Bruce Willis, Two Layers, Cosmic Sin, and Breach are both sci-fi horror where aliens infect people and everyone. I have the Cosmic Sin trailer in my to watch list, and I haven't seen it yet. I think I've recognized the title Breach. I like Bruce Willis. Most of his latest movies aren't that great, but I still like to watch them. I've heard he's kind of buttholey in real life, though. I don't know. Use speech to text, but having an accent doesn't help, and sometimes it just doesn't hear what I'm saying. For example, whenever I try to say the word enhancing, it thinks I'm saying in hand thing. Oh, that's funny, in hand thing. What type of accent do you have? Like, what's your? So I assume you're meaning by that you Well, English speakers can have an accent too, but so is English not your first language? What's your mother tongue? I'm always curious. If you are bilingual or multilingual, that is absolutely admirable. I wish I was more fluent in Spanish than I am. I mean, I can get by it, but I still wish it was completely second nature to me, but I'm not there yet. Every genre of music except country music has some songs that I like. I usually say I like this song or rather that than this band or that. I really, really love it. 80s music is great. Just like a lot of 80s movies are great, especially horror movies from the 80s. Even the crappy ones are so much fun to me. I don't know. Both Nameless and Matthew's book was actually recommended to me by Audible. Oh, okay. Nice. Cool. Well, I hope you enjoy them. The Nameless books, they're really short. Each episode is about an hour to an hour and a half. I think maybe one of them is 2 hours long, but they're short and sweet. I kind of wish he would come up with a full-length novel. I don't know if there are plans to do that, but I feel like I would like to just have a longer story told. I'm not super crazy about short stories, but I like Dean Koontz, so that's why I started listening to them. Cool. Well, let me know what you think. I kind of agree with for not the 80s music, but I kind of like new music that evokes the 80s, but with cleaner production. Like, okay, so I like The Weeknd's music. In a lot of ways, he reminds me of Michael Jackson with the way his songs are and his voice too. There's other songs I'm trying to think of. Like I hear songs. There's this one song. I couldn't tell you who sings it, but is it called Youngblood? I like that song. And there was another one. It was right on the tip of my brain, and I can't think of what it was. I thought it was a song I was. It might be that song from Black Widow, the redo of Nirvana's song. That one has been in my brain ever since I watched that movie. That sequence, that opening sequence, it's not an opening sequence. It's like they show this stuff and then they go into the credits. So like it's been maybe 10, 15 minutes since the start of the film. And then they go into the credits, the actual credits with the cast names and the director and everything. And they play this montage thing I was mentioning, and they play that song, and it's so haunting. I really like it. Oh, and I also like Full Blown Rose's version of In the Air Tonight better than Phil Collins' version. And the only reason I know about that version is because they played it on an episode of True Lies. No, not Rewind. True Calling, which is a TV series with Eliza Dushku or whatever her name is. And I really like their version. If my body likes to, it decides to move. That's the music I like. Yeah. Yep. There's some songs by, what's that girl's name? Enya. That very haunting melody. I like that as well. And I'm not typically in the mood for that style of song. Happy anniversary and happy birthday. Thank you very much. Yep. Music is music to me. If I like the beat, I decide to move to it. Yep. Music is like, an appreciation of music seems to be ingrained into almost all humans. There's something about it that makes us want to move. I don't know why. There's got to be some biological reason for it, because little babies do it. And I think it's interesting. I love the 80s music. I sort of feel as though I miss my decade. Of all eras in time, the 80s seemed to fit my personality the most. There was a time several years back that I was obsessed with music from the 50s and the early 60s. Loved, like Richie Valens and the Everly Brothers. Just obsessed with that music. I liked the style. I liked the sounds. So I kind of feel as well, especially at that point in my life, I felt like I missed my decade. I was in the wrong decade. I want an energetically shallow t-shirt for game night. Oh yeah, in reference to the right, energetically shallow. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. I picked that up after he was talking about the books and credits and stuff. It's great 80s music, but from I'm not sure what that first word is, unless maybe it's a typo. I sometimes think I have a special connection to music, but of course every human does music. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And sometimes the emotion that it can spark in you, and you can't even put a finger on it. You don't even know why. But sometimes some music just really emotionally moves you, and it can make you melancholy. It can make you happy. Maybe a lot of it depends on what's going on in your life at the time. Underlying theme of being upbeat. I don't like slow or sad. I'm not. It depends on the song. I like upbeat things with a nice catchy tempo, but there are some slow songs that I really like. Like there's a slow song by Mana, kind of slow, and it's called El Reloj Cuckoo, the cuckoo clock. And the reason I like that one is, well, the sound of it, the way he sings it, but also the story it tells is very sad. So I've always been drawn to that song. Yes, that video was very creative, very well done, but Aha's earlier music is not my absolute favorite. I like their music from the 2000s and onward more than I like their music from the 80s. So, of course, I love Take On Me. One of the reasons why comedians are great at talking about controversial topics is because it's statistically shown that when you're laughing, you're learning. Yep. That's a good point. Oh, 210s is great. Okay. I think I was confused about the first word in that sentence. CHVRCHES. I didn't know what you meant by that. I never really gravitated towards the Beatles. Yep, people look at me sideways when I tell them I'm not a Beatles fan. I'm also not really an Elvis fan. There's some of his stuff that I like, okay, but as a whole, Elvis just does nothing for me, and I'm just not drawn to him at all. So I don't really regularly listen to his stuff. So, so okay, I can think of 3 rap songs off the top of my head. One is the song Eminem did with Rihanna, and another is Nightmare on My Street by Will Smith, and another is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle songs. Those are the 3 rap songs I can think off the top of my head that I like, but there's probably more. I just don't listen to rap a lot. Sometimes I wonder what is going on in the brain when we're laughing, and I made the connection to learning once, like you're putting together 2 pieces. It's because when you're laughing, you're entertained, and that's why you can learn. That's why that's why a lot of times people hate school, because the way things are taught, it's not entertaining. So that has everything to do with it. And you don't even have to be entertained just by laughing, but yeah, that's probably why. Entertainment factor has a lot to do with how well you can remember certain things. From the Netherlands. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm going to assume that you probably were raised completely bilingual, because a lot of people outside of America seem to be. And there's a lot of people here that are raised bilingually, but it seems to be more of a thing outside of this country, like in Europe and things like that. My being is kind of cheating, though I grew up in Europe. I was surrounded by languages, especially in the Netherlands. It's very multicultural. I speak Dutch, English. Oh, that is so cool. Do you speak French and Spanish completely? I mean, are you completely fluent in the two? Do you, and when you think, see, this stuff fascinates me. I'm so fascinated by people that can speak multiple languages, and I'm really trying to up my game on Spanish. So I've started using the site Busu, and I've toyed around with joining Spanish VIP to have just some one-on-one talking. My husband is Mexican, but he very rarely talks Spanish to me because English is so ingrained in him. And if I try talking Spanish to him or he talks back to me, and if I don't understand him, then he just will say it in English because it just saves time. Just tell me in English. But I feel like I want to get to the point where I can speak it. Like there's a girl on YouTube, and her channel name is Super Holly, and she was raised, well, she wasn't raised from the time she was born, but she grew up in Mexico, and her Spanish is perfect, like perfect. And some people don't even believe that Spanish is not her mother tongue. I find that so interesting that people can do that. And I wonder, like, how do your thoughts go? Do you think in multiple languages, or do you think primarily in your mother tongue? I don't know. I think it's cool. I have dreamt in Spanish before, and sometimes I think in Spanish, but I'm not at the point where I feel completely comfortable to just talk off the top of my head in Espanol. Even though I probably could do it if I was backed into a corner, I could. But I don't have a lot of confidence. There is an internet gold video about an English lady listening to Beastie Boys on her Echo Dot. Her husband comes home and she just looks at her funny. She goes, yeah. That's funny. Beastie Boys. Oh, let me see. I'm gonna have to try to find that. Beastie Boys. Oh gosh, I remember them. That's funny. Did you guys see the video? There was like a video. I don't remember if it was on YouTube or TikTok, maybe YouTube. But this grandma who accidentally ate edibles, brownies. She got so high and she thought she was going to die. It was so funny. Somebody has never heard Wheeler Walker Jr. Great country music. Some country songs I do like, and no, I've never heard him. I don't recognize that name at all. 3 Canadians here. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I work with a Canadian. I did an interview with him. Justin. You're not watching, Justin, but I'm talking about you. Great guy. I'm learning Espanol. Took 3 years in high school, but just got back to it. Yeah, I used Duolingo for a while. Got all the way through all the levels at the time, and then lost interest because it was so repetitive. It was getting a little bit boring. And then I started back into it again, but I'm gravitating a little more towards Busu because you can use the free part, but I just went ahead and signed up for, like, I don't know, 2 years because it was so affordable to just get that block of time. But I like it also because you can submit your exercises to other people in the community. So like if I have an exercise or a sentence I need to type in Spanish, I would write it and send it to the community for them to critique it and let me know where did I screw up and give me suggestions and stuff. So I really like that. I think that's cool. Which stand-up comedian? If that's a question to me, I have no idea. That's gone right over my head. Muse. Yeah, Muse. Okay. I've heard one song of theirs that my boss recommended to me. Was it the name? Was it called Magic, or I can't remember. But that was, at first I wasn't super impressed, but then I couldn't get the song out of my head. So that means it was kind of impressive. I'm not really big on short stories either, but The Monkey's Paw was awesome. It's the famous story of a guy who gets a monkey's paw that grants him 3 wishes, and he wishes his dead son back to life. So Wonder Woman 84 was kind of based on the monkey's paw a bit. But I've never read that. I've never read that. I only heard about that short story when Wonder Woman 84 came out. Eliza, douche coup. Deuce coup or douche coup? Eliza, deuce coup or douche coup? I can't remember. I'm sure I'm butchering it. Use music to help you create stories. Nope, you do. It's believed that our connection to music started way back when mothers would hum to their babies while still in the womb. That makes sense. I can see that. As your comments on how music is ingrained in our very... Yeah, it does. I mean, it really does. Little teeny tiny babies. I've seen videos of little babies crying their heads off, and when music is played, it's just instantly. It calms them, it soothes them, comforts them. It's fascinating. And a lot of times very young children are they're just drawn to move they can't necessarily do it in the most graceful way. Arturo used to watch Selena, because I had the tapes of Selena, and he was just a young tiny thing, and he would watch the tapes and hold on to the cabinet and bounce up and down to the sound of the music. Yes, I'm embarrassing you, Arturo. I'm on my third attempt at Rosetta Stone Spanish. Comparing to what is a great man from Austria coming here, conquering everything, taken down. I know. I saw that. I did a reaction to that little that clip of him, and yeah, what Arnold accomplished in his life. Oh, his book was absolutely amazing. I already knew this about Arnold. His life story is amazing. I already knew this about Arnold, that he was super, super smart when it comes to things like business, and that he earned his fortune initially through real estate. Because he's like, he knows, he has good business sense for the most part. And yeah, he's an excellent businessman. It's just amazing what he did. Oh, okay. So that was, I thought it was a typo. Okay, I've never heard of them. Write them down. I'll check out. See if I can find a video. Okay. Didn't intend to have to take so many notes, but that's okay. It used to be, oh yeah. Yeah. Well, Simon, I'm sorry. Yeah, we've been going at it for like 2 hours already. Already 2 hours. And it's so late where you are too. So you're having another sleepless night. I hope you're doing well. Hopefully you can join us for the next conversation about 90s movies. I got what you meant though. That's okay. Yeah. Uh-oh, wait a second. Oh shoot, what happened? Oh wow, there's a whole bunch of, you guys, I am so late to some of these, because what happens is it gets to the bottom and then it doesn't move anymore, but underneath the comments are coming, but I don't know that. I think I've gotten close to the end. Oh my goodness. Oh wow, I am so wow, I am way back. I'm trying to move quicker. The change because glad you're here, Simon. You might be gone by now by the time I've gotten around to the comment. Holy cow. Yeah, it doesn't move. It just, this little thing at the bottom pops up and says new comments. And then, but I don't see it because I don't know. What you said about your liking of music from the 60s, I think I really just gravitate to the 80s rather than just having a liking for the era I just missed. My cousin Corey loves the 80s, music and movies. You like Ninja Rap? I don't think I've heard Ninja Rap. Is that a group? I don't think I've ever heard them. The best teachers are teachers that make the lessons entertaining. This has also been proven in many. Yes, that's absolutely right. And it's especially helpful when people learn in different ways too. So like my son is dyslexic. So he definitely If something is super entertaining, he's really going to retain it. But that's just the way it is with anybody. Yep. Me either. When I was a teenager, I spent most of my time in a bohemian cafe owned by 2 Wiccan priests. One time, an old hippie said to me, "If you limit your taste in music, you limit your very self." I can see that. But sometimes, I don't know. Sometimes, I guess I know the way a certain type of music sounds, like the style and the sound, and most of the time I know it's not really going to draw me, so I just don't gravitate toward it. But every once in a while, I will stumble across one that does. But I'm not huge into music, so I don't really go out listening. I mean, listening. I don't go out looking and searching for music in general. Smoked, whatever. Okay. In school, it would be good, made it funny. Funny teacher really helps. Read that the emotion and memory centers are spatially close so that emotional experiences are easier to recall. Yeah, good and bad emotional experiences. I can imagine. When I speak the Dutch people, I usually have to give them a warning in English that I need a second to switch my thinking around. The grammar structure is completely different. Yeah, that's the thing about Spanish. I love Spanish. To me, it's like the most beautiful language. Yes, I'm biased, but the flipping around and the fact that it's a gendered language, that makes no sense to me at all, that an item would have a gender. I know that's the way it is with the Romance languages. That is part of the language. And I'm not even coming at it from, you know, the wonky stuff that's going on right now about all this drama about gender and stuff, and how now they're trying to change the Spanish language to make it gender, which is completely insane. Don't try to do that. But fundamentally, it makes no sense to me that an item would have a gender, like that a chair is a girl. That makes no sense to me. So that's really difficult for me to wrap my brain around, and I have trouble matching. She didn't want me to hold her. Oh, she did. Oh, no! She's gonna hit the. Oh, she was perfectly fine till you picked her up and did that. Now she's being taken out of here. Sorry, got distracted by my daughter. Are these Wiccan priests male or female is what I'm wondering. The Beatles, Eleanor Rigby, a man and woman spend their lives in the same building, but both are alone, but don't have to be. The chorus, all the lonely people. I thought it was a brilliant take. You know what? I don't think I've ever heard that song. Like I said, I'm not really into the Beatles. Emotion and memory centers of the brain. Okay. Male, female. I guess you didn't react to a thing. Well, it depends what you're suggesting. And I have, like, at this point now, 800 and some stuff in my reaction to watch list. And a lot of times I choose what to react to based on what I'm in the mood for at that time and what I've got the time for at that time. So sometimes I'm in the mood and have got time for real heavy stuff, and sometimes I don't. You'll have to remind me what you suggested, because I don't remember. Sorry. I'm fluent in Dutch and English. If I moved to either France or Spain, I would be fluent within a month. But right now, I don't think I would consider myself fluent in French and Spanish. Okay. I'm assuming you probably, the type of Spanish you speak is probably the Castilian Spanish from Spain. Definitely hold my own. Yeah, I could hold my own too. It's mentally taxing when you have to put effort into it. Oh, I was down in Mexico for a week. Not long after about a year after my son was born. Went down there to see my husband's family. And, well, by the time the week was well underway, it was easier, but it was in the beginning, it was mentally exhausting. You missed the 92 movie chat I was going to tell you about. Oh, yeah, that one. That was an interesting chat. All of my live stream chats, I unlist them eventually, but they're still in the playlist. I do not ask for money. I just say, if you want to support the channel, and anything that is, honestly, anything that's ever donated, I don't spend that on personal stuff for myself. It all goes into things for the channel. Like if there's a movie I want to review, stuff like that. But I don't use that for personal expenses at all. I moved to Canada when I was 15. At first, it was difficult because I was thinking Dutch, but speaking English, it cost a whole bunch of. Oh, I bet. You see, that's the problem. I always do the translating thing in my head, and I haven't gotten to the point where I can just completely, fully think. I can speak some, but I can't understand much of what. See, for me, I can understand more of what people are saying than I can actually speak it. I can speak it all right, like I said. I just don't have confidence. I really don't. To a certain, like, I don't like to talk on the phone with anybody in Spanish, because the moment that you start talking Spanish to somebody, and there's a video of this I want to react to. The moment you open your mouth and you say something in Spanish, especially if in the first few words you sound like you're a native Spanish speaker, they just turn on full blast, full speed, and it's just like, well, más despacio, por favor. No entiendo. It wasn't until I consciously made the effort to think in English and speak in English, thinking, yeah, that's what someone said in a video that I was watching. They were talking about thinking in the language and then, you know, forcing yourself to speak in the language. That's true. It was a pain to find replacement parts. Yeah, it's more than 600 requests now. It's 800 and some. Like, I've been building it up, and it is anything. If I see it and I go find it, I put it in my requests. It's called reaction videos or reaction list or something. It's a private list I've created, 800 plus. It might have been, it probably was. There's a lot of stuff that's been requested from months ago. Being European, I do not speak Spanish, but I speak a little Spanish. That reminds me of that Catherine Tate, that comedy bit where she was doing the translating, and the way she did with the Spanish. That one tickled me more than anything, just because the Spain Spanish with the lisp. My favorite dialect is Latin American, or specifically Mexican Spanish, because to me, in general, the words are spoken the way they look on paper. And so Castilian Spanish, the sounds don't always match what it looks like on paper. So it's Mexican Spanish, Latin American Spanish is more user-friendly to me. The most difficult Spanish for me, though, are languages, or not languages, but the dialects from the Caribbean, Spanish-speaking countries, like Dominicans. Oh, they're just like, I can't understand very little of what a Dominican says, and Puerto Ricans and Cubans also are very difficult. Unless they speak slowly and clearly, then I can understand, but a lot of times that's just not the way their dialect is, so it's very hard. Yeah, that's the one. Madness. That's it. Now that song's going to be stuck in my head. English and Dutch are related languages. Yes, I've heard that. I've heard that they are. Germanic. That's the word, Germanic. Douche-ku is just Japanese for Eliza. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I thought you were calling her a douche or something. Yeah. I think I only heard, unless, you know, it's very possible I read it in school, but completely just promptly forgot about it. Yeah. It's possible too that I've seen, but I didn't know it was based on. I mean, obviously we all know the story about the 3 wishes and be careful of what you wish for and stuff like that, but I don't think I have read The Monkey's Paw. Oh crap. Oh geez. Would have rather learned. Yeah, I know, Arturo. You started being raised bilingually. You were speaking a little Spanish, but you know the story. I know. Babies that can't even walk yet and not even having fully developed will dance. Yep, that's true. I've seen videos of it. I think there's a critical period of language. Yeah. I mean, you can learn language at any time, but definitely it's effortless when you're younger. Stole a bunch of Dutch words. Yes, they're related, but other than okay. What's your favorite British movie and or TV show? British movie? Does Underworld count? I don't know if it counts. TV shows. I like Keeping Faith, and I don't know if that's considered a UK British show. I like also Oh, crap. No, I'm drawing blanks, y'all. Being Human. I like the first few seasons of that. There's several UK shows and mostly shows. I think that's mostly what I focus on that I really enjoy. I have access to Acorn TV, but I'm not remembering stuff now off the top of my head. I mean, it is after 11 right now, so I can't. There was a Benedict. Oh, Sherlock. Love Sherlock. There was also a mini series that he was in. Can't remember the name of it though. I've already announced to the others on when we're doing it. Oh, when have you decided? Next week, right? Tuesday. For Colin and Joe and Glenn, if your internet's okay, and Simon, our next 90s discussion was probably going to be Tuesday, next Tuesday, 7, 8, or 9 p.m. Okay. I guess we haven't fully decided on the time. English served as a language. There's so many languages. Okay. I'm popping up every comment. I might not completely respond to it because it's just information. It's not as difficult to learn as any is because in Holland you were taught basic English in school. Yeah. That's kind of seems to be a standard in a lot of countries to do that. Language difference, species do, and some families of language immersion. They call. Yeah, that's true. The French snobs who insists on correcting me whether or not chocolate is. Oh. Yep. I don't. I have problems with that. They know what you mean, for goodness sakes, right? They get the point. I feel like generally to correct someone when they're talking to you is if they're having trouble expressing what they're trying to say, and maybe you think you know what they're trying to say, so you offer them guidance. But for actual correction, like this is what you have, this is how you have to say it, I feel like that really is probably best reserved for a classroom environment or educational environment. Very exhausting. Yes, it is exhausting. It is mentally draining. You don't realize how much energy it takes to do that. I know exactly one Spanish sentence, and it's seen me through my entire life. Las cucarachas in Okay. It's not that they can't leave, it's that they refuse to leave. Oh gosh, Arturo, you scared the crap out of me. Chibi scared me when she barked. Oh, yes, here's Luca. Luca's still around.
Though. You're gonna have to watch it.
It's okay. I can't hold her though, because I have Levi.
People, this is a precious
little Luca.
She's
rat. Like, I want to crawl all over you.
Yeah, she did squeak when I grabbed her.
Okay. Yeah, you got to be careful how you grab her too, because her little lungs.
Not to grab her lungs. I don't know whether or not she squeaked because of that, or she's just squeaking because she's Luca.
Well, she's dramatic. You know how she is. I'm trying to get through all of these. Oh goodness. Our dog Chibi does not like the rats. She would probably kill them if she could. So they don't coexist. Hello, Daniel. It's a perfect example of what happens when fans demand too much. His timing. Oh. Yeah. I know. I know. I can't get to some stuff. Maybe I'll never get to it. I'll try. I'm not on purpose ignoring anything. I promise. I'm really not. It just, a lot of it it's so many factors as to why I do or don't. And sometimes, honestly, there's stuff I have reacted to and I've uploaded and it's like it's blocked, and maybe it's still in copyright hell because I have to time my disputes and my appeals. Some stuff, there's at least 2 videos that have never seen the light of day. One was the Jim Jeffries gun control, and there was something else. Drawing a blank on it now. Those have both never shown up. I was a Native American adopted to a Canadian family living in Germany, learning French. I was confused. I bet you were. Oh my goodness. That's amazing, though. It's never too late to learn a language. Yeah, it's true. I have a first cousin once removed who started learning Spanish in his 60s. And he is more fluent than me, but that's because he has really put all of his focus and energy into that in his, in his off time. Well, he's retired now, but still completely fluent. I mean, they go down to Mexico now and have these like learning excursion and or whatever stuff. So, yeah, it's never too late. It's definitely a little more challenging. Your brain is only as healthy as you want it to be. Your brain needs exercising just like every other thing in your body. Stop exercising your brain and you become dumb. That's true.
That is true.
It's like a muscle. The opposite. Yeah, I have never seen that, but I've heard a lot about it. And I like Ricky Gervais. I don't know. I think it's like a reality type show-ish sort of portrayal that I've never really been drawn to based on what I do to trash. All right, Simon, you need to be a stand-up comedian.
I know.
We share that pet peeve. In the middle of a conversation, you take the time to stop me to correct me, but the only way you can correct me is if you understood what I said in the first place. So, like if I ask for correction, if I ask for you to tell me what is the word, but if we're just trying to have a casual conversation and you're lecturing, I find that a little bit rude. Honestly, imagine having the thought that foreigner doesn't know what gender chocolate is. Right?
The problem with
yeah, I'm ready. She's back in her cage now. A good way to piss people off is just start correcting their grammar. We do that in English too. It happens with English speakers as well.
See, the problem with trying to take the time.
Are you assuming my chocolate's gender? You give my podcast "What If Humans Laid Eggs" a shout out? What? I don't know anything about your podcast. I'm going to write it down. But there's your shout out right there. What if humans laid eggs? I'm just writing this down to remind myself to check it out. Don't try to correct people's grammar because there's no point. I will correct someone if I sincerely believe they don't know the thing they're wrong about. Yeah, so if I can teach or inform them, I'm all about it. Yeah. There's no greater feeling than seeing the aha moment on someone's face. At times, the gendered noun thing doesn't make sense. In Spanish, the word for address is masculine for some stupid... Yeah, I know.
None of it makes sense.
A vestido. I still just can't. I really can't. Maybe I have just a mental block about it just because it makes no sense to me at all. But I'm just approaching it with a rational, like, I don't know. You can't fight it. It's just the way the language is. It is the way it is. There's nothing you can do.
I can revolt again.
You like Gervais? I have heard good things about that show, but I still haven't watched it yet. But it is in my to-watch list. I like Ricky Gervais. I think the very first thing I saw him in was, he was in Night at the Museum, right, Arturo?
Who?
The guy who, was like the one who ran the museum. He's kind of a butthole.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
Him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't really pay attention to him until I saw him in the movie Ghost Town. I think that's the name of it. And that was a really good film.
I do like him.
Man used to wear dresses. That's why it's a mask. Okay. I can't tell if you're just pulling my leg. Men used to wear high heels as well. What is the population? I have no idea. If you're asking me that, I have no clue. A dress is masculine because in Spain they speak it with a lisp, of course.
Yeah, they do. Like corazón. Over here, corazón.
Gene Simmons never wore high heels. Those are just blatant 70s. So you're talking about the play of those platform shoes. That's right. And you believing in facts aren't dependent on... What was that in? Oh, about men wearing dresses. Well, I mean, when you said that, I was thinking you meant way back in the the Scottish people and how they wear kilts, the men, or like the way Egyptians would dress. I thought that's what you meant when you said that. I recently discovered Carl Pilkington. I don't think I've ever heard of him, but yeah, I love Ricky. I love that he just.
Oh yeah.
I love what he did at the Golden Globes last year. I mean, I knew he was going to do that because I've seen pieces of his performance or his, hosting on those shows before. There's a lot. Yeah, yeah, toga. That's the word. I wanted to say tunic, but the word is toga, or what is that type of the way like the Egyptians would, we see it in the movies and stuff. Is that a toga? I don't know. I'm not a historian.
Oh, you should be.
That's funny because I've returned to the genius of Carly, the animated Ricky Gervais show. So funny. Talking about straight up dresses, it was an upper class fashion statement. What time period are you talking? I mean, I've seen guys walking on the runway these days with dresses on. I haven't yet seen pictures of what you're talking about, unless there are no pictures of that. I guess depends when it was. Chocolate's Universe's replacement. Oh, there's no replacement for men. I watched the show An Idiot Abroad a while ago, and it's really good. Oh, okay. I think I've heard of that show, actually. Oh, okay. I have made it to the end of my... What? Oh, you ready to take him?
Yeah,
okay, here. I'm going to hand him up to you. Here. Okay. I did this earlier. It's a little difficult just because the Ethernet wire's in the way. Oh, sorry. Okay. The dogs are being taken out. It's their bedtime. Dresses for Men is definitely making a comeback, referring to your fashion shows. I'm talking about way back in the day. You're right. It's around the same time where men would wear high heels. Oh, got a little bit of everything going on. All sorts of history discussion. Very eclectic crowd. Eclectic topics. And wigs and yeah. Well, see, when I hear things about like wigs and powdering faces, I think about things like, like the French aristocrats. That's what I think about when you say that. Yeah, I know. It doesn't make any sense. Why? Why? El piso. Why is the floor a man? Why is the table a woman? That's one of the most difficult things for me, and also the way the words are often flipped around. So like for an English speaker, it seems backwards. Now for a Spanish speaker speaking English, the way we talk seems backwards. I've never poofters. Oh, I've heard that word before. It's 11:30 p.m. though. Time for me to reconnect with my pillow. Yes, it's getting there for me as well. Gene Simmons never powders us. Fake news. Yeah. It's getting on up there for me too, but I'll be up for a few more hours actually. I probably won't go to bed till like 3 to 4, but I have a video to edit for tomorrow. So, and I think it's sort of a longish one. I think it's a Jordan Peterson, Thomas Sowell. I have a Bill Burr thing on my list I want to get to as well. I'll try to do a search for whatever that the gentleman who came on here before suggested to me, but there's no guarantee I will find it. Also, sometimes YouTube completely removes a remark. So I don't have a record of a comment being made, or let's say I get an email that a comment was made and I go to reply to it and it's gone, like poof, gone. Even if it doesn't seem to, like YouTube has this weird system where they just decide on their own that this remark is probably offensive, so they'll put it like either in the they'll put it in the held for review section, or this is possibly offensive, so they hide it from you so you can't see it unless you tell it to reveal it. And then sometimes some comments don't even end up there at all. They just don't exist. So either YouTube is just deciding to delete comments on their own, or maybe the person that originally wrote it deletes it. I don't know. We can call teaching English to foreigners, I think. Oh boy. Love your channel and your content. Just found out today. Oh, that's so great. I'm so glad to hear that. That's wonderful. So when you bring up cancer, that's something that is, it hits close to home because I've mentioned before about my mom and her cancer battle a few years back. Huge surprise when it happened. Fortunately, she's cancer free, knock on wood, right now. But with cancer, it's scary, you know? You just, sometimes you never know. But that's wonderful. I'm very happy for you. And, oh, that that is so sweet that you watch, you put up with me during your awful treatments. That's very sweet. Yes, I'm a night owl. I don't always stay up till 3, but tonight I probably will be because I've got some editing I need to do. So, yep. What are your favorite types of videos to react to? Or does it, you know what, Simon? It depends on sometimes I'm in the mood for something funny. Sometimes I'm in the mood for something informative. Sometimes I'm in the mood for just a movie trailer, entertainment related stuff. It really just depends. So, yeah, it's hard for me. So, like, my favorite thing to react to is Bill Burr. That's because he was one of the first that I started off with, and he made such an impact on me. But a lot of it is just all my mood, and it's all what do I have time for? So, and I could never tell you from one day to the next. Like, I did promise you I was going to watch that one about the how health influences, or how wealth influences health, and I did. I made myself because I had specifically promised you on air that I would. But typically, it's just kind of like, whatever I'm in the mood for. When I sit down and look through my list, wonder how the Spanish world will handle the transgender. You know what? They're trying to tear, by they, I mean the people that are engaged in this sort of activism. They're trying to change the Spanish language, and they're doing things like calling it Latinx. And a lot of native Spanish speakers are not fans, and I don't blame them. I personally think it's ludicrous that they're doing that. Keep doing you. Keep it up with these feminine controversial topics. I'll try to keep doing me. Okay. Thank you. You too. Hope you can get some good rest. They put their comments through it. Yeah, they do. And sometimes when they say it's held for review, I go and look at it, and there was nothing. I couldn't even see anything that would be a trigger word. I don't know why they I don't know what their formula is.
I get more of that whenever they want me to check out something too.
Yeah, like a held for review. A comment is held for review.
I have a few of those.
Yeah.
Oh, mostly like even ones that were giving me attitudes as well.
It's like sometimes they're really good about it. Sometimes the things that they filter away, you go and look at it, and yeah, the person's being a complete ass. You know, so there are plenty of other times where there was nothing remotely offensive. Maybe they considered it offensive because, I don't know,
I'm still getting
the string of words that were used could be potentially deemed as, I don't know. I don't even try to explain it.
Links to stuff. And
well, that's spam.
That doesn't even. Yeah, I would think
sometimes that spam slips through. Yeah.
Right.
I like Ricky Gervais in the off. He was horrendously awkward and well, he just plays that so well, doesn't he? Though awkward and hilarious. Terminator 6 into drapery. Oh my gosh! Don't remind me of Terminator 6. Dark Fate. I'm lucky that genetically I don't have to worry about cancer. A lot of smokers and drinkers in my family, and no cancer. Yeah, I don't. My mother's cancer wasn't a genetic type, so I don't really have a lot of cancer in my family either, which I feel very, very fortunate, because cancer is actually one of the main things that scares me, and Alzheimer's. I do have Alzheimer's in my family.
Well, but
careful, Grimes. That's exactly the type of thing someone who gets cancer. Yeah. Be careful. I'm a little superstitious about stuff like that. Like sometimes I feel like if I say something, it's going to end up biting me. They should make Captain Marvel trans so we can all chuckle at her superpower going, gosh. Don't remind me about that movie. I try to pretend that movie doesn't exist.
Marvel.
Yes.
I kind of want to make either a discussion or when I do a review, kind of go into details on kind of why they decided to make Captain Marvel was mostly the pandering of
well,
to capitalize on the Wonder Woman act.
Well, there's been that claim or that assertion that they feel like it was made because Wonder Woman did so well, so Marvel wanted to, they wanted to answer with their own first female-led film, but I think I think that was a big misstep. The Comet false positive issue is called named after the football. Found their website blocked due to a naughty word that appears with their. Oh yeah. So sometimes you can trick the system. You put spaces between the letters or asterisks or whatever. I have to do that on some of my titles, some of my video titles. So, okay, well, I feel like I need to start wrapping this up because it's already past 11:30 and I need to go edit for tomorrow. Alzheimer's, they may have to. Yeah. My grandfather passed away because of Alzheimer's, and one of his brothers has it as well. So there is that concern.
I'm also.
Anything that offends me and all this wokeness are bisexuals. It's just great. It's just great. Oh gosh. Okay, well, okay. I think I'm really going to wrap it up. And this is about like the second or third time I've tried to. I always want to respond to the comments, but because it's getting on up there, and I've got probably this video that I'm editing is going to be at least 30 minutes long because you know how I can be with my stuff. I don't know, yeah. But I'm going to. I want to get that up for tomorrow. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Major Payne. That avatar always cracks me up. They should name all the zodiac signs after ailments. Yeah, they've named, yeah. Right. So far, there's only one named after an ailment. Okay, well, thank you to everybody who showed up. This was a really fun discussion, and I'll do it again. I'll try to do this maybe at least monthly-ish. We'll see. Buenas noches. Oh, sorry, Buenas noches. Ha ha ha. Buenas noches, everybody. Hasta la vista. No, they don't even say that. Hasta luego, everybody. I know. I just want to say good night from the UK. Good night, UK. Good night, everybody. Good night. Thank you to everybody. This was wonderful fun. And I will see you later. Adios. End broadcast.